I am once again looking at another horror title, and that is the recently released Still Wakes the Deep. The game was developed by the British studio The Chinese Room and was published by Secret Mode. The Chinese Room previously made Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, Dear Esther and Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. The game was released on the 18th of June 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series consoles and PC. The story of the game follows a Scottish man named Cameron or Kaz McCleary, and he works on an oil rig, and after a catastrophe must look for a way of escaping not only the harsh weather but also the creature that is now on the rig. The story, for being rather basic, is made by the characters you meet and the interactions that they have with Kaz, as these are some of the highlights of the game. I will say that you don't spend too much time with your co-workers before things start to go wrong. You only spend around 30 minutes with them, and when people started dying I didn't really care that much, as you didn't have that much time to kind of get to know them. There was one character that you spend more time with, and that was the cook, as I believe in the game it was revealed that he is the person that got Kaz the job on the oil rig in the first place, so when he died I had a bit more of a response, but it was just very small. A part of the game I want to highlight is the Scottishness of it, as most of the characters you come across in the game are Scottish, and so they swear every other word, which didn't bother me, but it may bother other people, so bear that in mind before you play the game. The atmosphere the game creates is quite amazing, and its use of darkness at times made me question if I wanted to continue playing at all. That being said, the atmosphere did keep me glued to the game, and the second I put the game down I was itching to go back to it and play more, hence why I finished the game in 2 sittings. I do also want to say that the game is very short, as I finished it in around 4 hours. The creatures that are present in the game, it did give me heavy vibes from John Carpenter's The Thing. I do have an issue with the monsters, and that is that you see them way too much, and if you see the monsters more, for me it kind of decreases the scare factor. I would much prefer if you just saw brief glimpses of them, as there are certain moments in the game, for example during the chase sections, where I found them more terrifying, but the kind of normal hide and seek moments where we saw more of them I wasn't overly keen on, as we saw a bit too much of them. Also the fact that quite a lot of the outside portions of the game it is semi-daytime, then you get to see them more clearly, which I would have preferred it if it was nighttime. Overall I did enjoy the story, I just wish that it was a little more fleshed out, and the end of the game I saw coming a mile away. I pretty much guessed it within the first half an hour, so bear that in mind. If you kind of are used to these types of games, you may be able to guess the twist as well. Also, when I say twist, I put it in heavy quotation marks. The game could be described as a walking simulator, as there are no weapons in the game, and if you are seen by the creature, your only options are to run and hide. There are some mechanics that I'm not sure why they're in the game. One of them is the heater mechanic, as at certain points in the game the door you need to go through is locked until you've quote unquote warmed up next to a heater. Story wise it makes sense, but gameplay wise it makes no difference. There is no one main mechanic that makes the game memorable, and as a result of this it could lead to the game being forgettable gameplay wise. Most of the gameplay mechanics rely heavily on quick time events. For example, one that comes to mind is quite early on in the game where you are asked to kind of rewire a fuse box, I guess, and you press the button, but first of all you need to turn off power, I guess. You need to press down on the control stick, and then the animation will play. Then you need to press up again to finish off resetting the fuse box. That is quite common in Still Wakes the Deep, where seemingly basic gameplay mechanics, I guess, and things that could just be cutscenes, they ask you to do quick time events, and I can see why they did that. Otherwise you would just be watching animations for a majority of the game. There is platforming in the game, but they aren't that difficult, and almost all of them will require you to hold L2 or LT when you jump to kind of keep your grip, and that is something that you will see a lot in the game and virtually almost every platforming section. The game does do a good job at telegraphing where to go next, but as the game is very linear, it's hard to get lost, and if you do go the wrong way there will be kind of objects in the path that will obstruct you from going any further. Presentation wise the game does look quite good, but at times I did notice the frame dip a bit, so that took me out of the game at certain points, but thankfully it's not that common to draw me out completely. Like I said earlier, the design of the monster I liked a lot, and it reminded me of John Carpenter's The Thing. The oil rig as a location I really liked, as it could go from more open locations to really tight spaces in a small amount of time. I also liked the weather on the rig as well, kind of changing as the story progressed. The 1970s aesthetic didn't really factor into the story that much, but I guess it did explain the technology that was available on the rig. The audio design in the game is great, and it really helps to make the tense atmosphere. Something I will say is that the soundtrack I found to be a little lacking. So those are my thoughts on Still Wakes the Deep. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.